Good morning. It's Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. My name is Terry Morgan. We're here to practice Wudang Dragon Sword. This week we are reviewing the 4 movements that we've learned up to this point. I also, yesterday I had a little thing on my hand, and I don't have the thing on my hand, but I still have an issue. My cat and I had an encounter. So, yeah. So, it's still not quite what it should be. I thought it'd be okay by today, but apparently not. So, a little iffy. Be alright. Tomorrow should be okay. So, part of what I'm going to do today is to pay a little bit more attention to what we're doing in the moves, same as what we did yesterday with this idea that sweep across and sweep down, and that's all we're doing. But as we move more quickly, right, there's the addition of turning the waist, turning the body with the movement that adds to the movement. So it's not affected, it's added to. Let's get started. I'm checking on something while I'm doing that as well. I'm going to add the next movements this morning so that by the time we're finished tomorrow, we will have reviewed all of the 4 movements. Okay, we just got 1 yesterday. And circle in front, back around to both sides, up along center line, reach out. Not too slow. And again. Make sure and bend the knees as you go over. One more time. And elbows drop down, wrists, fingertips, hands return to your sides. Right leg front, left leg back. Wide stance. And sink 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Other side. And go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and down. Alright, come on up. Leg circles. Weight to the left, right leg up. Hands, it's harder to hold here, so let them be open a little bit and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put it down. On the right, left leg up and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on the left, go up on the right to the inside and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on the right, left to the inside, up on the knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put it down. Alright, now, which sets did you do perfectly? And which did you not? Right? What happened, just think about it for a second. What happened that you did correctly? What did you feel when you felt like, I'm doing this right? What did that feel like? Now, what did it feel like when you had to put your foot down? Me? Alright, or maybe you didn't. Good. If you did, what did that feel like? What happened through the body? What happened that threw you off balance, that you couldn't keep the leg where you wanted it, right? So, assuming you wanted it here, what happened that you had to put it down? What happened? For me, it was a balance. I moved and wasn't holding this, and this muscle wasn't holding, and I couldn't grab a hold of it, and I had to put my foot down. That's what happened. When we know that, now we can correct it. Now we know, oh, I needed to hold this over here a little bit tighter when I started, so that when I picked the foot up, I was in good position. Okay, I can do that next time. That information, that analysis, that let me understand what I just did, so that next time, and we're not going to do it right now, we're not going to do it right now, next time, I can be better. That part of practice, that I just did these things, this is what happened, this is what I'm going to take away, so that next time I can start with what I just learned. What I just learned. Every time we do anything, we're going to learn something from it. Whether it's correct, whether it's not correct, we're going to learn something from it. Okay. So, yeah, my thumb is not, this part of my thumb right here, it not really working so good. So, I can still manage a few things. It's all right. It'll be okay. But I just point that out. All right. It'll be all right. In holding the sword, right? So I'm talking about, I've got a little issue here, and my grip is going to be a little bit off. Okay. Other hand, yeah, I'm good here. That idea, left side, right side, I've talked about, excuse me, I've talked about, I'm not going to do this, hang on. Okay, it's better. Salt water. Clear the back of my throat. At least for the moment. It's still a little bit there. All right, much better. This idea that we're both hands, right? That we should be able to do some things with the other hand. So most of the forms that I've learned, most of the forms that I've seen would have, for a single sword, single broadsword, have the sword in the right hand. Okay? That's the way the forms are designed. There are double broadsword forms, two swords, both hands. There are double straight sword forms, two swords, both hands. There are several other types of forms that have double daggers, dagger in both hands. Those kinds of things require the use of both hands in coordinated fashion. We're not normally going to practice sword using the left hand. Okay? And I'm not going to do it today, but I want to mention that in the context of what happens if I hurt my hand, right? I talk about we're practicing sword and we're not carrying sword. We're not in the 14th century anymore. Nobody carries swords around. We don't. But if it was the 14th, 15th century, it might be advantageous for me to have this sword. What happens if my hand is hurt and I need to use my sword? What happens? It would be a necessity. I would probably want to be using it to defend myself. So what happens? I need to be able to use my other hand. Right? That flexibility is something that we want to pay attention to. Not something that I personally have spent too much time on. Some, not a lot. So, with that in mind, we're going with the right hand this morning. Alright, so we start out, feet together. I'm just walk through it for just a second, then we're going to do this several times. Okay, feet together, salute. I went through this in detail yesterday. Okay, and open, turn, up the center, 1, 2, 3, come out, slice around, down, up. We got to here, right? And I talked about this. We're going to start with these moves this morning and move on. One of the things that I've talked about, and I'm going to emphasize here because we're in this room. Each time we pay attention to a particular movement, each time we stop, each time I stop at a particular point that is part of the way the movement flows. So I'm going to do this, 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 and this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those stops don't happen when I move fluidly through the form. And the stops between movements. Okay, I got to back up. Where am I going? Right? I got to check for the light fixture. What about that? Those things don't happen. Those are not necessary things if I have a bigger space. So if I'm in a gym, if I'm outside, I don't have that worry. I may have to worry about what I'm stepping on, where I'm, how close I am to the bleachers, or what surface I'm on. If I'm outside, could be grass, could be concrete, could be asphalt. What am I on, right? I have to pay attention to that. So it's different than being in here on carpet. It is. Those differences give us a different way to practice. I would not practice the same way if I always had a big gym to go to. I wouldn't. I would never have learned how to practice in a close-in space with a sword if that's not how I started. It was that, or go outside. It was really cold outside. So yeah, no, I'm going to stay in, and it's a small room. We'll figure it out, right? That skill, managing the space, is something I talk about all the time. Okay, so managing the space. This first, I'm thinking about sneezing here. It's my day. All right, this first movement from the beginning. Feet together, stand straight. 3 times. Salute. Breathe in, pull up. Sink onto the right, open left. Pull in the right, open the right. And turn the left. Up on the left, across the center, down on the right, up the center. And turn 1, 2, 3, open, cross and down. Again, feet together, stand straight. Check them for the light fixture. And salute. Breathe in. Breathe out. And breathe in. Sink onto the right. Open left. Pull in. Open. Turn. And turn 1, 2, 3. Slice and down. Again, feet together, stand straight. Salute. Breathe in. Shift right. Sink. Open. And turn. Up the center. Turn 1, 2, 3. Come around. Slice down. Each time, the more precise, the more clarity we can bring to the pattern, the circle that we have, the easier it becomes to move more quickly. That simple, I'm here. The more clarity I bring to this circle, the easier it is. Yeah, I'm checking. Right? To do that. I can't do that if I don't know where this is. Yeah. So, I'm here. If I don't know where each of those movements begins and ends, I can't do either of them quickly. And I can't connect without understanding that as this comes across, that's all I have to do. Right? I end up here. The blade is flat. Change hands, right? All I have to do is extend the circle to come around. Here. And do that this way. Circle. Right? That circle, when it's smooth, well placed, and we know where all the points on that circle should be, can move very quickly. Okay. All right. From here, paying attention to the tip of the sword. Circle. Clockwise. And up. Okay, so 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Up. As we turn, the waist moves. The waist adds to the movement at the tip of the sword. It should. And this is, once again, I talk about this frequently, this is not an effective thing. I don't want to shake you. Don't shake the tip of the sword to make it shake, okay? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. I can do this with my hand, but no. Don't do that. Alright, and if you have, it's coming back now. If you have a well-weighted sword, you will be able to feel what happens at the end of it. If you have a sword that's got a little bit more of that lightweight feel to it, this is going to move much more easily. Okay, don't try to move it. If it moves, great. If it doesn't, it needs more work. All right, that movement comes from extending through the sword, extending the chi through the sword. Fa Jing. 真的是发劲. Extending the energy. Fa Jing. Fa extending. Jing energy. Fa Jing. Fa Jing. That sense that there's something more, right, is highlighted right here. That tip of the sword. This is not a big circle with the outer side of the blade, even though we could do this, and that's what I'm going to show. This is where it goes, right? That's where it goes. A little bit and up. Stir the soup and bring it up. That sense of small movement extending into a larger movement, and then we're going to turn around. Pay attention to the small movement changing to the larger movement. So we're here. 3 times. Slowly with a little bit bigger circle. So down slice out. Come around clockwise, circle, and up. Come around clockwise, circle, up. And I should turn a little bit on the other side, but I'm going real slow right now, so. Circle, up. Okay? That circle, up. That movement. Dragon step. It's my hand. Sorry. Alright? This foot should be flat. It's there. Ouch. That there is purpose behind. There is that sense that big circle and then up. Little circle. All the way around and then up. Little bitty. 1, 2, 3. That connection, the way that happens, is from the lower tantien. Turn through the waist, turn through the hip, turn through the lower tantien. Okay. 2 fingers. Other side. Right? As we turn around, we want to take what we have been doing here. This comes up and over to slice down. I have an error message over here. Hang on. All right. I'm seeing an error message over here, and I'm trying to think through what am I going to do with that. I'm going to keep going for right now. I know why. I have some video that I recorded on this machine that I'm using, and it's taken up too much of the hard drive. The buffer on the drive doesn't have enough to manage the video, so it's throwing an error. What I'm seeing is okay, so I'm going to continue with what we're doing for right now. See if I can I'll slow it down, so make sure that what gets out there, and see the error might clear itself in a minute. Okay, so we started here, right? Opening. Here, come around, down, up, and down. And then we're going to turn around again. Right? Let's turn. Here, this goes down, the sword comes up. On this side, everything goes down. So as I bring this across, down. And that sense that I've got a place, I've got room to pull down here, I want that. Okay, so I'm not trying to reach out here. Okay. That sense, this one, I'm checking the technology over here. Working on it. Still working on it. This says it's okay now, and it needs a minute to clear over here, so let me see if that clears before I start moving any faster. This turn, up, down, right? Now we get to use the tip of the blade again. As we turn around, so I'm here, tip of the blade comes through and out, right? The hand behind, right, should be extended the same as this hand in front. So as I turn, yeah, I can do that here. Right? This should be level. Still waiting for the air to clear over here. That cleared up over here, and cleared up over there. Technology. It's great. That placement, position, where am I, what am I doing, sets us up for the next move. Every time we stop, every time we're right? step through, slice down. That and then we up and under, right? That series, Unicorn Playing in the Forest, has its own methods, right? It has some things that we haven't seen. And if you notice the spread, it goes long. All right, that type of movement, and I talked about this before, that type of movement in a small space, what can we do with that? How do we manage that? One, I'm paying attention to where I have an opening. I have an opening over there, so if I go that way, I'm okay. I don't have a wall over here. I'm not going to go that way. Logic, right? That carries over into how we can use application, how we can use what we're doing. Right? So if I'm practicing and I'm going to run into this wall over here, and I pay attention to the wall, and I pay attention to how I can move so that I don't run into the wall. If I'm in a circumstance where I need to do something and there's a wall, I've already learned how to pay attention to it. I have. Let me check this. Alright. This is the same error that I have seen before, and I've recorded something I need to remove. I put it someplace else, actually. I don't need to remove it. I need to keep it, but I need to put it somewhere else. So I will get that done. One more time. I want to go through from the beginning to this last extension. So, first three. Feet together, stand straight. Hold the sword hand. Salute. Sink, open. Turn. Left side, right side, up the center. And 1, 2, 3. Out on the left, turn. Foot slice down, up and down. Turn around. That was it. One more time. Salute. On the right, open left, open right, turn, up on the left, down on the right, center, and turn 1, 2, 3, cross, down, up, down, out. Alright, that series, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with this. And I'm leaning back. I'm going to tell you something. That's me avoiding the furniture. Seriously, that was me avoiding the furniture. I have my chair right here, and as I came around, I did not want to hit the chair. So I avoided it. Being able to do that is not something I would have paid attention to, not something I would have done if the chair wasn't there. So one more time, without that ending piece, this says, I have an excellent connection for the moment, let's take advantage of it. Feet together, stand straight, salute, and breathe in, shift right, open left, turn, And turn to the left. Come across and down. Up the center. And turn 1, 2, 3. Turn the waist. Come around. 2 and 3. Alright. That sequence hopefully went through. I've got my error message back over here, so I'm going to stop here for today. I will take care of the machine so that it's happy with its buffer. And I will be back tomorrow. We're going to work on the rest of the movements that we have already learned. We're going to review just a little bit more. I had said at the beginning we wanted to start slow. We do. There is quite a bit of internal workmanship, fundamental sword basics, working with sword, double-edged sword, Jen. Jen the Ji Bengong. The fundamentals for sword. Dao Ji Bengong Shi Bu Tong. The fundamentals for broadsword, they're different, right? That it matters. Paying attention to all of the fundamentals at the beginning. Repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. It's really boring. Can't we move on? What happens when you repeat the fundamentals is that you establish the foundation that you need to do more advanced work. That foundation is what we build on. So, this is foundation. Paying attention to your stance, paying attention to your surroundings, paying attention to how you are moving, paying attention to what else is in the room with you, paying attention to what's the direction and the force that you are using with the sword. How am I navigating with the sword? How am I navigating within the space that I have? How does that give me some advantage? Might be a disadvantage now. I'd really like to have a bigger room. It'd be great. I could go out in the other room. It's bigger. I could. The kinds of things that I have to pay attention to in the bigger room, a little bit different than the kinds of things I have to pay attention to in a smaller room. A little bit different than the kinds of things that I have to pay attention to if I'm outside. All of those combine to give us pieces of how we can practice what we can do, how we can move, that don't happen any other place. If I'm outside, I'm going to move differently than if I'm inside. I've got more room, right? And the surface that I'm on is going to be different. And I'm not going to run into a wall. Might have a tree over there, but I'm not going to run into a wall, right? Those differences give us elements of practice. I'm saying this again. Those elements give us elements of practice that we would not have otherwise. So when we think about what we have to work with, how we practice, what we're doing, and what's in the space with us, consider also that whatever it is gives you some advantage. I appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much. I will be back tomorrow with more sword. Thursday and Friday, Wudang Qigong. And next week, I'm going to get to the next movements. Thank you again. I appreciate you being here.